Hello. I see somebody's here. Looks like my microphone is working okay. And you can't see her right now, but Luna is laying in the hallway as usual. How's everybody doing today? I see one person's here. Welcome to Wednesday WIP Knockout. It's Lynn. It's casual Wednesday here. We're being cash. And it's a very cloudy, but still warm, on the verge of hot day here in central Illinois. And the last few days, it's been raining. And I always just got to double check and make sure this is working here. Yes, okay. The last few days, it's been rainy, and we needed it so badly. Everybody's lawn was yellow, and now it's starting to kind of turn around and turn green again. So that's the weather here in central Illinois, cloudy and just kind of bleh. So welcome away from whatever weather you're in to join me here. Like I said, we're just being cash today. Let's see, a couple people here. Let's see, Tammy. Hey, Tammy, how are you? And Fran. Okay. Fran from Ohio. What's the weather in Ohio, Fran? Excuse me. Excuse me 1 second. Tammy, Texas. Yeah, I knew that. You're great. Yeah. So all my Texas people, I'm waiting for Sarah to get on. Same as Schwartz. Yeah. Just kind of icky, but well, what are you going to do? Sarah from Fire Lake. I don't know if any of you guys went to the DFW Fiber Fest, or I think that's what it's called, or saw pictures of it. It looked like Sarah got to meet Tiffany. And so that was kind of cool. Maybe she's already met her before, but there was a picture. Hey, Annette, how are you doing? Hello from Michigan, or hello to Michigan. I was just talking about the Fiber Fest. Tammy, did you get to go to it since it was in Texas? I saw that, what's her name? Tony Lipsy was there with her mom, and Sarah had a picture taken with her. So that was kind of fun to see. I wish I would have been able to go, but I would love to hear all about it, see what you guys thought. We got a couple minutes before we get officially started. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I'll show you what I'm working on here in just a minute. I've not been able to join the last few weeks. You have a client call scheduled at this time. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I understand completely. I mean, work comes first. You got to do what you got to do. But I appreciate you joining us today. Let's see. So, a couple more minutes. You guys want to tell me what you're working on today before I show you my little project? I know that Fran does a lot of blankets, right? I have to drop. I hope to catch up. What chapter are you on? Oh, we are on chapter 7. If you want to join us at the time allotted for reading, we're on chapter 7, A Sense and Sensibility, to be read during the last 20 minutes. Thank you for the hearts. I am up to 103 subscribers. Yay. Thank you, everybody. I'm in triple digits now. Oh, there's Sarah. Hey, Sarah. We were just talking about the DFW Fiber Fest. I saw your pictures with Tiffany and with Tony, and wondered, was that the first time you had met both of them, and how the Fiber Fest was? Did you like it? Did you buy anything exciting? One minute. I'm going to make Sarah type. Because I want to hear about it. One day I want to go to it. But I'm just curious, were there other yarn people there? Was it mostly like quilting and things? Working on an anniversary crochet along from Ophelia Talks Crochet? Okay, I don't know that one. Is that the anniversary cake that's from, oh, it's 205, everybody. 205, just to keep on track here. Let me set my alarm. Okay. Um, let's see. First time meeting Tony and Mama Gwen. Third time meeting Tiffany. Tiffany and I spent most of the day together, so I got to tell folks she designed my shirt. Oh, was that tie-dye shirt? Did you have on a tie-dye shirt? I can't remember now in the picture. Oh, well, that's fun. Got to hang around all day. Good for you. So I was wondering, is it mostly yarn people that are there, crocheters and knitters, or is it quilters, or is it just a whole array of all kinds of different folks? Ophelia does crochet, talks crochet. Um, I'll have to look that up. I'm going to make a note. So when you say the anniversary crochet along, is that like the anniversary cakes? Is that what you're talking about? Or it's just called an anniversary blanket? Oh, squares from different blankets from 10 years. Oh, wow. So it's mostly yarn at the DFW. Oh, that's nice. I saw the video of one with Elise Rose. She went to one, I think in Chicago, and it was a lot of quilters. And that was something else seeing that. They were really pretty. Okay, let's see. Ophelia Talks Crochet. That reminds me of Shannon Talks Yarn. I don't know if you guys ever seen her, but she is the one who inspired me to get my YouTube channel starting. Crochet. Ophelia Talks Crochet. Okay. All right. So hopefully everybody is hard at work. I'm going to show you what I'm working on. This is for a neighbor. She's having her first grandchild. And as it turns out, they're having twins. Her daughter is having twins, a boy and a girl. So I'm making them a light pink bear and a light blue bear. This is the pink one so far. I know it looks funny, but it's a polar bear. So I'm going to make a pink polar bear and a blue one. Boy, that looks almost white in the picture, but it's a very light pink. This is Honey Bunny from Hobie. And I like it because it does not shed at all. But it's a little bit reminds me of Bernat Blanket, the way it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like dense. But it's pretty easy to work with. It doesn't hurt my hands like Bernat Blanket does. But and it doesn't shed. But I use a 5 hook instead of a 6. With Premier Parfait Chunky, I use a 6. So let me show you the polar bear, how it's going to turn out. Let's see. It's really cute. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Kind of see that little bear. He's a little polar bear with a scarf. So that's how he turns out. And that's in worsted weight, so he's smaller. This one's going to be pretty big. So you make the whole head and body together, and then you separate and put on the legs and the arms and the ears and all that snout. So I hope it turns out really cute. Thank you. So let's see what else Sarah wrote. Let's see. The one Elise Rose went to was professional trade show. This was classes and shopping and get-togethers. Oh, that sounds much more fun. Some spinning stuff. A lot of vendors sold both yarn and fiber. Okay. Very good. Oh, I bet you had a good time. Did you take a lot of different classes? Oh, I just took my hook. Here we go. That's what I would have done. I would have taken some classes. I would have done all that. Shopped. What else did you say? Classes, shopping, get-togethers. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun. Tiffany is making me share what I bought at tonight's get-together. Oh, hey, speaking of Tiffany, I can't figure out how to get on her membership thing. Remember how she gave that away to everybody for like 2 months for free when she did that giveaway? I can't figure out how to get on it. So if somebody can clue me in, as you all know, I'm not totally tech savvy, but I would like to go on it before my free membership expires to see if I like it. No classes this time? Okay. Are the classes taught by some of the big name YouTubers? I would have been fangirling, especially we're meeting Tiffany and meeting Tony. I have talked to Tiffany, on Zoom, but never met Tony. She seems so fun. Tony taught a couple classes. They sold out immediately. Oh, I bet. Oh, I bet they did. I keep telling myself one day I'm going to learn how to do that Tunisian crochet. Not this year. I've got my next market is October 4th, so I've got to get my butt in gear because I still want to make another bat. I want make another pumpkin pie, the kitty and the pumpkin pie, and a couple ghosts. So I'm not quite ready for it yet. But I'm making these two for this neighbor because her daughter's shower is on the 11th, and I don't want to wait till just the week before to get them both done. So I'll at least get this one done and the blue one started before the 4th, I hope. We've got left 13 minutes. Got to meet a ton of honeybees from her yarn hive, some of whom I've known for a couple years. Tony and Mama Gwen knew who I was. Wow, so that made me feel so good. Oh, that's neat. Aw, you must have been around the community a long time then, Sarah. That would have been something to go to that. So was there a lot of vendors selling their yarn, I suppose, and their all their wares? Beta B. So I've been there since the beginning. Oh, since the beginning of YouTube? Wow. You are a long timer, huh? Beta B. So your channel is called Beta B? I'll have to look that up. Beginning of the Yarn Hive community. Oh, okay. So Yarn Hive is Tiffany's. Is that the crochet club thing? Is that the same thing as the crochet club? Oh, it's Tony's site. Okay. Tony's Yarn Hive. Oh. I don't know if I don't think I've heard that she does that, or is that something she's no longer doing? Because I've only been on the YouTube scene maybe 2.5 years, maybe closer to 3 now. Okay, so we know Sarah's working on a crochet along. No. Who was that? Was that Fran? Stop that. Stop that. Ah. That was Fran. What is everybody else working on? Tony has her own membership like Tiffany does. Okay. Not through YouTube. Oh, okay. I have heard her say Yarn Hive, but I didn't really know what it was. So, yeah, working on hats before I turn them in on Sunday. Wonderful. Aw. I plan on doing that with you guys, the hats. I just got to get caught up. I'm undecided whether to do this craft fair I'm going to on the 4th. They also have a Christmas one coming up, I think early December. And I really like this venue. I've been there a couple times. It's I did good in the spring, and that was just inside. This one is indoor outdoor. It's a bigger event. And I'm assuming the one in the winter is just indoors. But I'm debating whether to go to that or not. I probably should, just to keep me busy and get some more, stuff done. So it's in the it's called the Brinkerhoff Mansion. It's here in town. And this couple took it over and renovated it. And they do all kinds of things there. They do wedding receptions. They do bridal showers, all kinds of things. Baby showers, mom's day out kind of things. Let's see. Oh, the hats might only be this year. Oh, okay. And Tammy learned the wheat stitch and making a scarf. Now, Tammy, are you talking about on the Yarn Hive you learned that? Or on Tiffany's channel? Or just in general? We've got 8 minutes. Oh, just in general. Okay. The wheat stitch. I don't think I've ever done the wheat stitch. That might be the one I wonder if that's the one that I tried last year. And I thought I was still kind of a beginner with different kind of stitches. Is that an advanced stitch, would you say? The wheat stitch? I think I can picture what it looks like. Kind of like a V, kind of like V shapes. Yep. Oh, there's my daughter home from work. She got off early today. Lizzie, hi there. It's not too hard. Okay, well, maybe I'll learn that. I bet that would be pretty in a scarf. My favorite scarf I made, it's one of my favorite stitches is the alpine stitch. I think that's so pretty. Lizzie, how are you doing today? Last week we talked about hooks. This week we could talk about our favorite stitches, mine being the alpine stitch. I don't know why. I just think it looks so rustic, and so it just looks so neat. It's uniform and it's kind of feminine, but yet it's kind of rustic look to it, kind of like an alpine ski lodge kind of look. Yes. Lizzie is in Denmark. Correct? Yep. Lizzie, how is everything? Across the pond. I know you're winding down for your bedtime here. Everyone here seems to be fine. Fran, the air pine stitch. Now, come on. I'm teasing. I know what you mean. Anybody else have a favorite stitch? Sometimes I get tired of doing single crochet when I'm making amigurumi, but that is the way it goes. I always like seeing the end result of what I make, though. Heft double crochet and treble. I like those too. I don't use the treble very often. It is kind of pretty. And mark my row before I forget here. It's very pretty. And I used my cardigan sweater, which was almost all half double crochets. Now, last week I did the band around the bottom, and I had to frog it a couple times. It was coming out too loose or it wasn't nice and snug, like you see the bands on bottoms of sweaters and such. So I redid that, and now I'm working up the side behind the neck and down the other side with the ribbing. And I've gotten about to here up the first side. So yeah, I'll have to show you next week if I can get some more done. Show you guys how it's coming along. Oh, thought I lost my stitch marker. That would have been bad. What's some other people's favorite stitches? Got 4 minutes left. Don't get me started spelling. Okay, I'm teasing you. That's fine. I tell you, autocorrect sometimes is a big pain. I'm going to count my rows here while I'm thinking about it, making sure I'm on the right count. Hello. Hi, honey. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, you know what? I started from the wrong spot. Oh, does anybody have a favorite stitch that's really tough to do? Okay. I'm on the right spot. Oh, okay, honey. Elise Rose did an episode where she tried some difficult stitches, some advanced stitches, and of course, now off the top of my head, I don't remember the name of them, but one of them, I think there was like 10 of them. So two I had tried and I used, and I wouldn't really call them advanced, maybe more intermediate. One that she did looked really difficult. I thought, I doubt I'm ever going to make that one. And it seemed like it was kind of floral, and each row you had to come and dip down, and I don't remember, but like, I mean, occasionally I like to learn new stitches if I'm going to use them, but usually not just for the sake of learning them. Like when I had that Annie's Kit Club with the blankets, I like doing that. It was just one square, and then you put them all together. But that was fun. And I learned a flower stitch on that one. It's kind of like a rosebud with a stem, and they were just kind of staggered throughout the block. It turned out really pretty. The moss stitch. Yep. I still haven't decided. I've got that blanket for the high school that I'm going to donate for the raffle. That's not until February, but I'm still thinking of what stitch will work good with the ombre kind of yarn that I have. Jasmine. I think it was called Jasmine. Yeah, it looked really difficult. Has anybody used that to make anything? I think probably the hardest one I did was that one I was just talking about with the flower in it. I had to frog that 3 or 4 times before I got that right. And my friend, who's a very experienced crocheter, she didn't like that stitch either because it was hard. But jasmine stitch, yeah, that's what it was. All right. Let's see where we're at. Oh, a few more seconds. Yeah, they don't. The thing with the Annie's Kit Clubs, I did enjoy it, and they give you a nice video to go by and the written. Um, but they didn't tell you what the name of the stitch was. It was very odd. Whenever they gave you a new stitch, they wouldn't say, "Oh, this is the waffle stitch," and this is how they would just go right into making it, but they wouldn't give it a name. And so I don't know what that flower stitch was called, but it was really pretty. It turned out good. And what was another one I learned on that? Saved by the Bell. Okay, so break time. What shall we talk about? I'm gonna have some drinks. Has anybody else conquered the jasmine stitch? Ooh, a little chilly. You know what? I should go get my blanket. I don't know if I've shown you guys my blanket that I made with Annie's kit cloths. Okay, found it. Let's see now. So here's your basic, I think this is your basic single crochet here. I think this is the lemon peel. And then there was like a V kind of stitch, kind of an open weave. And this is just, I think this is just double. And then the next row down, we got another kind of V stitch. And then this one, this open weave blocks. There you go. That was kind of fun to do. And then we have, which one is this? Oh, these are double crochets with like a space in, like every 4, you leave a space. And here is a, looks kind of like a shell stitch a little bit. Come on. You've never done the jasmine either. Okay. The next row we have, here's one. Oh, here's the alpine stitch. I think this is the one I did. Here's my alpine stitch. I did this because the stitch they gave me that session was too complicated. I'm like, I can't do this. So I just did the alpine. So I have an alpine stitch in my blanket. And I have, what is this one? This is probably half double crochet. I think that one's half double. And then we got, I don't know what this is. It's kind of pretty. It looks a little bumpy. A little bumpy stitch. I can't tell what that is though. Kind of looks like half double, but I'm not sure what that is. And then this last white one is a, I don't know. It's a mishmash too. Can't quite tell what that is. Sure, okay. And then I think I'm on the last row. Let's see. Am I going the wrong way? Oh, here we go. And then we got one of my faves, the bobble stitch. I love the bobble stitch. It's so much fun. So fun to touch. And then next to that is, I think this is the cluster stitch. This one I like a lot too. I like the cluster stitch. Actually, it's upside down, but it doesn't really matter. And then here we have, this might be more of a kind of a shell stitch. Between a shell and a V, I'm not sure. I don't remember doing that one. This is over a year. I made this over a year ago. Here's another one with some holes in it. Let's see. With some intentional holes. But I can't quite tell what the stitch is. It has some open holes. It has some maybe treble. Those might be trebles right here. And then, oh, we got 2 more rows. This one is, I think this is the Suzette stitch. And I'm pretty sure the Suzette and the lemon peel are similar. And then you put a single crochet and a double, and then a single and a double, but then you switch it on the next row. And I don't remember. Something like that. And this one is kind of pretty. That's the shell stitch. That one is definitely the shell stitch. It's upside down. And then we have some kind of, this might be half double. It looks kind of like ribbing. And then, did I show you this one already? That one, I don't know what that is. But it was fun. It looks a little complicated, but I got her done. Okay, last row. Where's that? Where's that rose one? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So first we have this looks like treble. Here comes treble. Oh, time to start. Under 20 minutes, let's get that started. Okay. And okay, here's that flower one. You ready? It's upside down, but I might as well do it right. Give me the full effect here. Once I got the hang of it, I really liked it. But again, they never tell you what the stitch is called, but you could see it's kind of like roses, like right here. Here, where's it at? Here and here, there's 2 roses in that block, 2, and I think 2 more at the bottom. But that turned out really pretty. So I enjoyed learning that stitch. And the other one was, here's another gray one. That looks similar to the shell and maybe a row of doubles in between that. Not sure. And and the last one is a waffle stitch. Another one of my favorites besides the alpine is the waffle stitch. I think that's really neat. So that's my blanket. So have any of you guys ever done that flower one? Do you know what it's called now that I've showed you? You can see the roses. Yeah, it was tricky. But oh, hey, Bean. I was asleep and then I had to eat. Okay, no problem. Glad you're here. We were talking about, we've been talking about the DFW Fiber Fest. We're talking about what people are working on. I just showed my blanket, my Annie's kit blanket, because we're talking about the different stitches. We're talking about our favorite stitches, which ones we use the most, which ones we like and want to try, which ones are too hard to try. So, Bean, do you have any of those you want to chime in on? I'm going to show you that one, since you probably missed it. That one rose stitch, and see if you've ever done it before. This is a blanket I made from my Annie's Kit Club. I just got to find it again. Where'd they go? Here they are. Okay, Bean. Late to the party, which is okay. Okay, here we go. This is for Bean's sake. See how they're like little flowers here, like little roses. So this is the blanket I made for the Annie's Kit Club. I really like doing that. It was a little pricey, but they gave you all the yarn, and there was extra yarn. Like they're made with front and back post. I think they are. Yeah. I think they are, Sarah. I did one of those Annie's blankets. You did? Crocodile stitch. Oh, that's one that's kind of like, has like little, it's kind of like triangular and has little flat. It's like a flap. I think I have seen that. But yeah, I thought it was well worth the Annie's Kit Club because I learned, a lot of new stitches. And I saved the little books too, if I ever want to go back and, do another one. But like I was telling everybody, Bean, they don't give you the name of the stitch in the thing so you can look it up somewhere else. You got to keep the book if you want to redo that new stitch again. Because I don't know the name of it. I'm just going to call it the Rosebud Stitch. What are you working on today, Bean? I got people working on hats and blankets. I'm working on a pink polar bear. Doesn't look like a polar bear yet. Scales, yeah. A striped sampler. Oh, okay. So instead of blocks, it was different stripes. Okay. Yeah, after I picked the one I wanted to do, the gray and the white, it's got like 3 different colors of gray, a couple different whites in it. And then I saw the other colors. There was one that was like that was bluish and brownish. That was really pretty. But I like this neutral. I like the neutral, the grays. Hopefully it'll last forever. Striped sampler. Yeah, I don't know how much they are now. I think I paid $25 I think I got it. I think you could choose on if you want to get it once a month or every 3 months. I think I got mine every 3 months. And I think it was 25, somewhere between 25 and $28 for those three. They give you 3 blocks at a time. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, it might be a lot more expensive now. I don't know. And I think they were out of Texas. So it wasn't an international company or anything. An envelope border for this mosaic hot pad. And then I'll get some rosin on my colorwork sweater. Okay. An envelope border. I don't think I'm familiar with that. Is that a certain... I'm trying to think what that might look like. Does it look like the part you lick of the envelope? Like a little triangle? I never heard of the envelope stitch. Let's see. Whoops. Colorwork sweater. So when you say, I always get confused when people say colorwork or color block or colorway. So when you say colorwork sweater, oh, it's got 2 layers so you can hide all the ends in it. Oh, okay. I see. The envelope stitch. Huh. So your color, what are you calling it? Color work sweater. Is that just like scraps of all different colors? Is it like a scrap sweater where you can use a lot of different colors? Or is it a certain color work, like all different kinds of blues? Like the cardigan I'm making now, I would call that a color block sweater. I don't know if that's the right term, but it's orange and then yellow and then red. It's a Fair Isle type sweater. Okay. Yes, now Fair Isle is that knitting? I thought Fair Isle was knitting for some reason. I guess it's just a type. Any blanket too. Oh, did you, Fran? Sampler had a lot of yarn left. Yeah, I'm still using the yarn I have left from them. And I love that yarn. That's actually my go-to yarn is that Premier anti-pilling worsted weight. That is my go-to yarn. It's soft. It's 100% acrylic. It's easy to work with. Oh. A sampler blanket would be fun to make too. Okay. Knitting sweater. Oh, okay. Okay. You know, that's funny. There was a question on Jeopardy a few days ago about Fair Isle. And I think it was under a hobby category or something. And it's like, oh, I've heard that. That's knitting or that's crocheting. There's so many terms and stuff that to learn when you're into this craft, isn't there? Oh. Is anybody else on here a knitter? Or just Bean? See if we have any other knitters on board. Okay, 11 minutes till we do our stretches. We're going to work on distal stretches today. Last week we did proximal stretches. Proximal meaning closer to your body, distal meaning more away from your body. Sarah is learning to knit on and off. Okay. Okay. I hear it's harder. And I know Annie from Hooks and Healers, she knits socks all the time. She's always showing the socks that she's working on. She's always got a pair of socks going. Okay. Okay, latch hook. I used to do that when I was a kid, but it's come back now. I haven't tried it as a grown up, but I used to do a lot of latch hook rugs when you don't have tips to do. Fran, I'm practicing knitting when I don't have tips to do. Okay. She is explaining. What was I going to tell you guys about? Oh, let's check what I, yeah, I've done that. I'm trying to think. I've tried embroidery with yarn. Um, oh, back in March on my channel, I did a series on different things to do with yarn. So we did 4 different things. We did bargello. We did it's not called nail art. What's it called when you put the nails in and you string art? String art. And we did yarn with glue, which is like making kind of a free form kind of thing on construction paper or cardstock with yarn and glue. That was fun. And then the last one was bargello. I liked also, and string art. They were all fun because I'd never done them before. Oh, whips to do. Okay, there you go. I can't remember what the 4th one was now. Oh, that's gonna bug me. But yeah, I decided to do that as a March series, and check that out if you guys want to. If you get tired of doing crocheting or knitting and want something else to do with yarn. And some of the things you could do with your kids, like that. It'd be messy, like that glue, the yarn art, which was with the glue. I think my favorite thing was the bargello, which is with the plastic canvas. What do you call that? Yeah, plastic canvas, and use the yarn, and they're all vertical lines, but they're well, I don't know how to explain it. The only one I can think of I haven't done. That's the only one you think of you haven't done. Embroidery, cross stitch, needle felting. Oh my gosh, sewing, tatting. Now binding? That one I don't know. NAL binding? Not familiar with that one. So yeah, I like the bargello. That was fun. And the string art. Those are probably my 2 favorites. Oh, I know what the 4th one was. I was trying to make pom-poms, homemade pom-poms. That didn't go too well. No, I was not good at it. Maybe that takes more practice than what I had the patience for, but my pom-poms did not turn out too well. Oh, precursor to knitting. Now, okay. Huh. Something else I need to look up. So it's good to learn that before you learn to knit, I guess. It's kind of a prequel to knitting, used with needles and all that. I think this is my last row. I'm glad I saved this for today. I was thinking what I could do with you guys that was mindless and just counting rows. Now I'm going to have to do his legs here tonight. Let's see. Very different, but it's older. Okay, historical. The Vikings did, is it pronounced nail binding? Now? It almost looks like nail biting. That's not right. Oh, it's an older craft than knitting. Huh. I wonder which one is the very oldest. Is it crochet? Is it knitting? Is it maybe macrame? I did that too as a teenager. I did macrame. Five minutes. 5 minutes. I'm going to finish this row, then I'm going to count, make sure I'm in the right spot. Now binding, now binding. Sometimes I feel like I've got so many WIPs in progress that I don't want to learn anything new. You know, that's not a good place to be. But I think once I get past this this craft fair on the 4th, then I'll be a little bit more relaxed. Let's see. I was going to count. Okay. How did I get 27? Let's try that again. Okay. Yeah, I got it on this pattern. For some reason, she doesn't count the magic circle as row 1. So I got to remember that when I'm counting it up. But it looks like I've got the right amount. Now I just got to count my stitches, make sure I got 36 because I got to divide the legs evenly, 18 and 18. And count my stitches. Half a bobbin lace project under my bed. I don't know what bobbin lace is, but it must be something you don't like if it's under your bed and you're not working on it, huh? Okay, I see how it is. Yay, 36. Okay. All right, folks. A couple minutes left for our stretches. Anybody else have anything to chat about? Gotta make sure I'm hydrated before I start reading. Oh, now binding. I'm going to look that up too. Okay. One of these days we'll get around to everything we want to do, right? One of these days we will get around to it. Oh. You know, something that looks fun to me, and I had a patient one time that I saw, and she did the spinning. She spun yarn, and she showed me a little bit of how it worked. And I thought, oh, that looks like fun. It looks so relaxing, just holding it and let it spin. Kind of this, well, not the same as a yarn winder, of course, but same kind of rhythmic, relaxing motion as a yarn winder. But that was fun. I think let's see, who does spinning? Shannon does, and Sweet Pea Sid does. I'm trying to think if I watch anybody else that is a spinner. Okay, we've got about a minute. A beginning spinner. Okay, Sarah. It sounds like you've tried a little bit of everything, haven't you? That's good. It's very meditative. That's a good word. That's a good word I was looking for. Yeah, I bet it is. Excuse me. I'm going to stop talking for our last minute here. Okay, everybody focus. You got 30 seconds left in this section, and then we do our 5-minute stretches. Who is texting me? Ah, there we go. Stop. Okay. All right, everybody put your projects down. We are going to start a little stretch. Now, last week we did a lot of shoulder and neck and upper back stretches. Today we're just going to do hands and wrists. Excuse me. Okay, are we ready? Starting at the wrist. Just do some wrist circles. These are very easy, but they are good stretch out kind of exercises to loosen you up. Circle the other way. Pretty easy. Bring it down just a tad. There we go. Okay. And now moving on to the fingers. You know what? Let's do another wrist one. We got plenty of time. Let's do another wrist one. Okay. We're going to hold your wrist together and stretch. Stretch, push them together, and then push them down. Again, we need these more than we need the other ones because this is an extension. These praying hands. Stretch them. And then the other way, this flexion. You remember me saying that we spend more of our lives in flexion, so we need these extension exercises more. Stretch, and that's for any muscle group in your body. There you go. One more time, down. And extend. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so the wrist is an interesting joint. There's 8 bones, 8 or 10 bones in your wrist. So that's why I can do so many different things. You can rotate, you can flex and extend, and then you can do a little bit of ulnar deviation and radial deviation. You get more with this is kind of like a shaking hand kind of movement. But if you push, you could feel that pulling, push into ulnar, and then push into radial towards your thumb. Push it out. You don't get much movement there in radial deviation, but ulnar, stretch. Okay, let's move on to the fingers. Are we ready? We're going to do the tendon gliding exercises. Do you guys remember those? It's been a while since we've done them. The first one is very easy. Just open and close, making a fist, thumb on the outside. I like this one, just a basic stretch. Okay, and then we're going to do the one called the hook. This is where you bend your fingers, keep your thumb sticking out, and you keep your knuckles straight. So knuckles stay straight, and you're just bending the 2 joints of your finger. The distal interphalangeal and the proximal interphalangeal. We're not bending this one. So that's the hook. Down and stretch out. Down and stretch it out. Okay. And then the last one is rooftop. So it's the opposite. Keeping your fingers straight and just bending at the knuckles. Rooftop. Rooftop. Stretch. You can feel that, can't you? You feel that down through your top of your hand. Stretch. Good. And then for the thumb, because when I'm crocheting, the first thing that hurts me is my non-dominant left thumb. So let's circle around. Sometimes I even kind of massage it a little bit. I can hear my thumb crackling a little. Oh. Okay, it is 2:55. Let's set the alarm for the last 20 minutes. And I'm going to get my book out here in a second and read a couple chapters of Sense and Sensibility. You guys can relax, get your projects out, start them up. I'm going to relax and read. Put my feet up on the couch. Okay, whoops, hold on. Get rid of that. Okay. Everybody ready? Let's see what the Dashwoods are up to this week. Chapter 7. I hate these pop-ups. Get rid of them. Okay. Okay, they're in their new cottage. Barton Park was about a half a mile from the cottage, and the ladies had passed near it on their way along the valley, but it was screened from their view at home by the projection of a hill. The house was large and handsome, and the Middletons lived in style of equal hospitality and elegance. The former was for Sir John's gratification, the latter for that of his lady. They were scarcely ever without some friends staying with them in the house, and they kept more company of every kind than any other family in the neighborhood. It was necessary to the happiness of both, for however dissimilar in temper and outward behavior, they strongly resembled each other in that total want of talent and taste which confined their employments, unconnected with such as society produced, within a very narrow compass. Sir John was a sportsman, Lady Middleton a mother. He hunted and shot, and she humored her children, and these were their only resources. Lady Middleton had the advantage of being able to spoil her children all year round, while Sir John's independent employments were in existence only half the time. Continual engagements at home and abroad, however, supplied all the deficiencies of nature and education, supported the good spirits of Sir John, and gave exercise to the good breeding of his wife. Lady Middleton piqued herself upon the elegance of her table and of all her domestic arrangements, and from this kind of vanity was her greatest enjoyment in any of their parties. But Sir John's satisfaction, Luna, in society was much more real. He delighted in collecting about him more young people than his house would hold, and the noisier they were, the better was he pleased. He was a blessing to all the juvenile part of his neighborhood, for in summer he was forever forming parties to eat cold ham and chicken out of doors, and in winter his private balls were numerous enough for any young lady who was not suffering under the insatiable appetite of 15. The arrival of a new family in the country was always a matter of joy to him. In every point of view, he was charmed with the inhabitants he had now procured for his cottage at Barton. The Miss Dashwoods were young and pretty and unaffected. It was enough to secure his good opinion, for to be unaffected was all that a pretty girl could want to make her mind as captivating as her person. The friendliness of his disposition made him happy in accommodating those whose situations might be considered, in comparison with the past, as unfortunate. In showing kindness to his cousins, therefore, he had the real satisfaction of a good heart, and in settling a family of females only in his cottage, he had all the satisfaction of a sportsman. For a sportsman, though he esteems only those of his sex who are sportsmen likewise, is not often desirous of encouraging their taste by admitting them to a residence in his own manor. Mrs. Dashwood and her daughters were met at the door of the house by Sir John, who welcomed them to Barton Park with unaffected sincerity. And as he attended them to the drawing room, repeated to the young ladies the concern which the same subject had drawn from him the day before at being unable to get any smart young men to meet them. They would see, he said, only one gentleman there besides himself, a particular friend who was staying at the park, but who was neither very young nor very gay. He hoped they would all excuse the smallness of the party, and could assure them it should never happen so again. He had been to several families that morning in hopes of procuring some addition to their number, but it was moonlight and everybody was full of engagements. Luckily, Lady Middleton's mother had arrived at Barton within the last hour, and as she was a very cheerful, agreeable woman, he hoped the young ladies would not find it so very dull as they might imagine. The young ladies, as well as their mother, were perfectly satisfied with having two entire strangers at the party, and wished for no more. Mrs. Jennings, Lady Middleton's mother, was a good-humored, merry, fat, elderly woman who talked a great deal, seemed very happy and rather vulgar. She was full of jokes and laughter, and before dinner was over, had said many witty things. Before dinner was over, had said many witty things on the subject of lovers and husbands. Hoped they had not left their hearts behind them in Sussex, and pretended to see them blush, whether they did or not. Marianne was vexed at it for her sister's sake, and turned her eyes towards Eleanor to see how she bore these attacks, with an earnestness which gave Eleanor far more pain than could arise from such commonplace raillery as Mrs. Jennings. Colonel Brandon, oh, here he comes. Colonel Brandon, my favorite character. The friend of Sir John seemed no more adapted by resemblance of manner to be his friend than Lady Middleton was to be his wife, or Mrs. Jennings to be Lady Middleton's mother. He was silent and grave. His appearance, however, was not unpleasing, in spite of his being in the opinion of Marianne and Margaret, an absolute old bachelor, for he was on the wrong side of 35. But though his face was not handsome, his countenance was sensible, and his address was particularly gentlemanlike. There was nothing in any of the party which could recommend them as companions to the Dashwoods, but the cold insipidity of Lady Middleton was so particularly repulsive that in comparison of it, the gravity of Colonel Brandon and even the boisterous mirth of Sir John and his mother-in-law was interesting. Lady Middleton seemed to be roused to enjoyment only by the entrance of her 4 noisy children after dinner, who pulled her about, tore her clothes, and put an end to every kind of discourse except what related to themselves. In the evening, as Marianne was discovered to be musical, she was invited to play. The instrument was unlocked, and everybody prepared to be charmed, and Marianne, who sang very well, at their request, went through the chief songs which Lady Middleton had brought into the family on her marriage, and which perhaps had lain ever since the same position on the pianoforte, for her ladyship had celebrated that event by giving up music, although by her mother's account she had played extremely well, and by her own was very fond of it. Marianne's performance was highly applauded, and Sir John was loud in his admiration at the end of every song, and as loud in his conversation with the others while every song lasted. Lady Middleton frequently called him to order, wondered how anyone's attention could be diverted from music for a moment, and asked Marianne to sing a particular song which Marianne had just finished. Colonel Brandon alone of all the party heard her without being in raptures. He paid her only the compliment of attention, and she felt respect for him on the occasion, which the others had reasonably forfeited by their shameless want of taste. His pleasure in music, though it amounted not to that ecstatic delight which alone could sympathize with her own, was estimable when she contrasted against the horrible insensibility of the others, and she was reasonable enough to allow that a man of 35 might well have outlived all acuteness of feeling and every exquisite power of enjoyment. She was perfectly disposed to make every allowance for the colonel's advanced state of life, which humanity required. Okay, chapter 8. We have time for this one. Yes. Mrs. Jennings was a widow with an ample jointure. She had only 2 daughters, both of whom she had lived to see respectably married, and she had now, therefore, nothing to do but marry off all the rest of the world. In the promotion of this object, she was zealously active, as far as her ability reached, and missed no opportunity of projecting weddings amongst all the young people of her acquaintance. She was remarkably quick in the discovery of attachments, and had enjoyed the advantage of raising the blushes and the vanity of many a young lady by insinuations of her power over such a young man. And this kind of discernment enabled her soon after her arrival at Barton decisively to pronounce that Colonel Brandon was very much in love with Mary Ann Dashwood. She rather suspected it to be so on the very first evening of their being together, from his listening so attentively while she sang to them, and when the visit was returned by the Middletons dining at the cottage, the fact was ascertained by his listening to her again. It must be so. She was perfectly convinced of it. It would be an excellent match, for he was rich and she was handsome. Mrs. Jennings had been anxious to see Colonel Brandon well married, ever since her connection with Sir John first brought him to her knowledge. And she was always anxious to get a good husband for every pretty girl. The immediate advantage to herself was by no means inconsiderable, for it supplied her with endless jokes against them both. At the park, she laughed at the colonel, and in the cottage at Marianne. To the former, her raillery was probably, as far as it regarded only himself, perfectly indifferent, but to the latter it was at first incomprehensible, and when its object was understood, she hardly knew whether most to laugh at its absurdity or censure its impertinence, for she considered it as an unfeeling reflection on the colonel's advanced years and on his forlorn condition as an old bachelor. Mrs. Dashwood, who could not think a man 5 years younger than herself so exceedingly ancient as he appeared to the youthful fancy of her daughter, ventured to clear Mrs. Jennings from the probability of wishing to throw ridicule on his age. But at least, Mamma, you cannot deny the absurdity of the accusation, though you may not think it intentionally ill-natured. Colonel Brandon is certainly younger than Mrs. Jennings, but he's old enough to be my father, and if he were ever animated enough to be in love, must have long outlived every sensation of the kind. It is too ridiculous. When is a man to be safe from such wit if age and infirmity will not protect him? Infirmity, said Eleanor. Do you call Colonel Brandon infirmed? I can easily suppose that his age may appear much greater to you than to our mother, but you can hardly deceive yourself as to his having the use of his limbs. Did you not hear him complain of the rheumatism? And is not that the most commonest infirmity of declining life? My dearest child, said her mother, laughing, at this rate you must be in continual terror of my decay, and it must seem to you a miracle that my life has been extended to the advanced age of 40. Mamma, you are not doing me justice. I know very well that Colonel Brandon is not old enough to make his friends yet apprehensive of losing him in the course of nature. He may live 20 years longer, but 35 has nothing to do with matrimony. Perhaps, said Eleanor, 35 and 17 had better not have anything to do with matrimony together. But if there should by any chance happen to be a woman who is single at 7 and 20, I should not think Colonel Brandon's being 35 any objection to his marrying her. A woman of 7 and 20, said Marianne, after pausing a moment, can never hope to feel or inspire affection again. And if her home be uncomfortable or her fortune small, I can suppose that she might bring herself to submit to the offices of a nurse for the sake of the provision and security of a wife. In his marrying such a woman, therefore, there would be nothing unsuitable. It would be a compact of convenience, and the world would be satisfied. In my eyes, it would be no marriage at all, but that would be nothing. To me, it would seem only a commercial exchange in which each wished to be benefited at the expense of the other. It would be impossible, I know, replied Eleanor, to conceive that a woman of 7 and 20 could feel for a man of 35 or anything near enough to love to make him a desirable companion for her. But I must object to your dooming Colonel Brandon and his wife to the constant confinement of a sick chamber merely because he chanced to complain yesterday, which was a very cold, damp day, of a slight rheumatic feel in one of his shoulders. But he talked of flannel waistcoats, said Marianne, and with me a flannel waistcoat is invariably connected with aches, rheumatisms, and every species of ailment that can afflict the old and the feeble. Had he been only in a violent fever, you would not have despised him half so much. Confess, Marianne, is not there something interesting to you in the flushed cheek, the hollow eye, and the quick pulse of a fever? Soon after this, upon Eleanor's leaving her room, Mamma, said Marianne, I have an alarm on the subject of illness, which I cannot conceal from you. I am sure Edward Ferrars is not well. We have now been here almost a fortnight, and yet he does not come. Nothing but real indisposition could occasion this extraordinary delay. What else can detain him at Norland? Had you any idea of his coming so soon? Asked Mrs. Dashwood. I had none. On the contrary, if I felt any anxiety at all on the subject, it has been in recollecting that he sometimes showed a want of pleasure and readiness in accepting my invitation. When I talked of his coming to Barton, does Eleanor expect him already? I have never mentioned it to her, but of course she must. I rather think you're mistaken, Marianne, for when I was talking to her yesterday of getting a new grate for the spare bedchamber, she observed that there was no immediate hurry for it, and it was not likely that the room would be wanted for some time. How strange this is! What could be the meaning of it, said Marianne, but the whole of their behavior to each other has been unaccountable. How cold and how composed were their last adieus, how languid their conversation the last evening of their being together. In Edward's farewell, there was no distinction between Eleanor and me. It was the good wishes of an affectionate brother to both. Twice did I leave them purposely together in the course of the last morning, and each time did he most unaccountably follow me out of the room. And Eleanor, in quitting Norland and Edward, cried not as I did. Even now her self-command is invariable. When is she dejected or melancholy? When does she try to avoid society or appear restless and dissatisfied in it? Well, Eleanor is not her sister. Marianne is very demonstrative and lets her feelings be known, and Eleanor is much more quiet and stable. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We still have 4 minutes left. Okay. So let me see if anybody was writing. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the stretches. I'm glad that felt good. Let me hydrate myself. So chapter 9 will be next Wednesday. I'm glad you guys like my reading. I'm glad you like the book. I'm glad that you could just sit and crochet and listen. That was my goal, to do that for you guys. So I hope you liked it. What else have we to talk about? Now I sound like a Dashwood. I see who's still on. We still have 4 of us on here. And remember to invite everybody next Wednesday. And okay, thank you, Fran. I'm hoping everybody enjoyed it. And excuse me. I hope you guys got a lot of work done today, or at least a good chunk of it. I got my pink polar bear ready to be legged, as it were. And so I will have to show you that next week when I finish her. And I will start on the, thank you, Sarah. I will start on the light blue one. Now, I don't have, I'm hoping the rest of this skein will last me for this bear. I think it should. But the light blue I have in the chenille or the chunky yarn is the parfait, so which is a little bit softer, but it's I don't know. I like parfait chunky, but it sheds a lot, and it's just a little bit harder to work with. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's just it's not like it's a complicated pattern. So that's that. What do we got left here? A couple minutes. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns? I'm going to try to pick up this room before next week. It's still got one drawer here. I did put one over there, but I just don't have a whole lot of extra space for things. You can see up in my closet here that, yeah, I've got some books up there, and then my desk is right behind me. That's my scrapbooking desk. And I have another desk over here, yeah, over to my right, with our PC on it. But that desktop is pretty old. I think we might be getting rid of it soon. The printer is pretty new, but the desktop is very old. And then I have all my yarn over here, the couch over here. I have company coming next month, and Sue will be sleeping on the couch, and her daughter will be sleeping on the other couch in the living room. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. I love October, not just because it's my birthday month, but I just love the weather in October with the colors changing and the coolness. Go to a football game and all that fun stuff you can do in October. Getting ready for Halloween. Anybody else have anything to say before we wrap up here? Minute left. I'm glad everybody was here. That was a fun time today. And let's see, I had a episode come out last Friday on deconstructing my hexagon purse. It was kind of a prequel to my other video. So if you want to look up how to do a puff stitch hexagon, that was last Friday's video. I have all my little hexagon. I got to need to put these together for a purse. I want to try to sell that at the craft fair next week. So I still need to sew all these together. Yeah, I've just got too much on my plate as far as projects. That's all right. They're fun. If I didn't enjoy it, wouldn't do it, right? Okay, the countdown begins. Okay, everybody. Thank you again for coming. I know you all subscribed. I appreciate that so much. And spread the word if people like, my content. Please have them like and subscribe. And so, there it is. Lizzie, if you're still on, have a good night. And everybody else, have a good rest of your day. And thanks for tuning in today. Really appreciate you being here. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.